6 in the morning right now, and I'm driving 2 hours away from my home because yesterday we won another car, and I'll show it to you in a moment once I'll get there. It's gonna be a moment for you and almost 2 hours for me, and we're gonna find out if this is the junker or another diamond in the rough, since it's a 21-year-old car with 65,000 miles only, or give or take. And there you have it, 99 Porsche Boxster with about 65,000 miles or so. It's in a pretty good condition, I would say, at least visually. The only significant flaw I found is the dent on the bumper. The rest visually appears to be fine. What sucks is they didn't put any tape around the open window, so I'm not sure how much time the car was sitting here, opened, and you can see the mold spots, on the seats and on the dash, pretty much everywhere. So we're gonna need to take care about it. But it's gonna be secondly. Firstly, we'll find out if the car starts. If not, what is preventing from? What is preventing it from starting, and if it's a junk or it's a diamond in the rough. So we'll see. Let's get home, and we'll see. We'll go from there. So she's home. Just brought it, and I did little walk around just to see what we are dealing with. So it's definitely been flooded. So this is what they show the water line. It's pretty serious, actually. It's if you translate it to interior, it's about here. So the seats, seat motors are there, and this is electric seat motor, or electric seat, I would say. So it's gonna be a challenge for me to get or to remove the seat, because I need to get to those bolts that are holding the seat in the front and in the back, and I need to move the seat. So it's gonna be fun. What else? So I found the rear trunk was already open. I didn't do anything. I checked the oil to see if there is any super level, but it's actually not as bad as I thought it's gonna be. So it's possible there is a chance there is no water in the engine. It doesn't mean it couldn't be broken because of or damaged because of the water, but it's not a bad sign. What I'm struggling right now is I don't know yet how to open the front trunk or frunk, because this lever for the rear, it works. So if I manually latch it, I can open it by pulling this lever. However, nothing is happening when I'm pulling the front lever. So either the cable is broken, or either I don't know, it needs the power to operate. Maybe it's electric latch in the front. I don't know. I'm gonna Google it. But other than that, after it's gonna be cleaned, if it's gonna run, it's a pretty damn good car. And previously I mentioned it's around 65,000 miles, but actually it's 58,000 miles, even better. I read that there could be the kind of emergency front release on the passenger side under this wheel well cover, but I cannot get the wheel out so I can get access to all the screws, because the wheel has the lock, and assuming I have a lock, like the key for this lock, it's gonna be right there in the front, and hopefully it's there, because if it's not, it's gonna be a challenge to remove the wheels. I found out that the wheels are from 2011. One of them had this time. This one is actually from 09, 21st week of 09, but it's not a dry rotted, and the tread is practically like the brand new wheel, or very close to it. You can see the lettering in here. The rear wheels are, let's see if I can find the time code, 0411. So this one is, and the other one from the other side is from 2011, and again the tread is almost like the brand new wheel. So the rubber is not dry rotted, which is good. I don't need the rubber. So that's that. I'm gonna do some more googling just to find out how to open the front hood or frunk, and we'll go from there. I was able to do some preliminary stuff off camera, and the most frustrating was to open the front trunk, frunk, hood, bonnet, whatever you want to call it. This is what gonna show what a shitty blogger I am. It's a day 3 since I got this car here in the garage, and on the first day it took me probably 6 hours to open the front trunk, the frunk, and so I was trying to pull this lever, so it was pulling actually all the way in or all the way out, I would say. Didn't help. I was able to locate the emergency cable that actually works when, you know, the power is down, the battery is drained, and when the main lever is not working. So I was trying to pull this emergency cable as hard as I could. Nothing. So eventually, after about 6 hours of, you know, dangling here, I found out that the hood was actually opened, but because of the broken spring, it wasn't kind of popped out. So I spent 6 hours trying to open the opened hood. Right now I manually closed this latch, so I cannot, you know, accidentally close the hood and, you know, to go through this hassle again. But I made sure this cable actually is working. I removed the battery, I charged it. Thankfully it looks like it's holding the charge, so we're good on that. Another N hours I spent on removing this seat and this seat. The problem is they're electric, and since it was flooded, probably up to about this level, all the motors, those are the motors, have been corroded and stuck. So there is a very tiny space underneath the seat, so I was able to take off or unscrew the front bolts. The rear ones was you know, covered with the seat, so I needed to slide it forward to get the access to those bolts. So what I did, miraculously I was able to unbolt those motors and those motors are connected to the, you know, this like slides by those flexible cable. It looks like the speedometer cable from the old days. It's like the, you know, square on the each end. I never thought this is the way the motors are being connected to the you know, to the mechanism. And once I removed the motor, I disassembled one of them, and I was able to unstuck it, because like electrically it's still fine, it works. It's just was stuck with the corrosion or oxidation, and now all three motors are working properly. So I was able to connect one of the motors back to the mechanism that adjusts the, you know, the seat movement back and forth. So I was able to move the seat to the front and get the access to the rear bolts. On the other hand, the driver's seat has two modules here under the seat. The lower module that sits in this like a well is the immobilizer or car security module. So when it's got wet, pretty much the car is immobilized. You cannot drive it. So to get to that module, I needed to remove the seat again, and there is no way to get to those motors because there is one more module on the front that covers the, you know, very tiny hole to the motors. So, and this, the second module is responsible, if I'm not mistaken, since it's written Recaro and some of the connectors from the seat was connected to it. I guess it's a memory module for the memory electric seat. So I was able to remove this front module. It was hard, and then instead of removing the motors from under the seat, I used this jumper wire, and I connected to one of the connectors that was responsible to, you know, for the motor that moves the seat back and forth. And with that, this motor was, or this rail was partially corroded, because when I gave it the power, it moved 1/4 of an inch. I reversed the polarity, it moved forward, reversed polarity, moved back. So after about maybe a couple hundreds, you know, going back and forth, I was finally able to move the seat. So the next step, first of all, the used security module or immobilizer module on eBay right now, that's September of 2020, goes for like roughly around $400, and around $450 I guess you can get a new module. Those modules needs to be programmed, but hopefully I'll be able to move the information from the old module into the replacement module, like I did with my 2000, what was it, 6 or 7 Cayman. It had the rear control module in the same place under the driver's seat, which was also flooded. On Cayman, this module responds for the rear part of the vehicle, lights, spoiler, rear trunk latch, and all this stuff. Those modules for Cayman, when I looked, also went like around like $350 or so. I was able to get the module from Touareg for $11 from my local junkyard. I modified a little bit because it's not totally 100% identical, but let's say 95% identical, and I moved the memory from my original Cayman module to Touareg module, install it, worked flawlessly. I'm hoping I may do the same trick with this Boxster. I don't know yet if it's possible, if there are any, let's say, Volkswagen or Audi modules that are similar or the same but cost less. If not, I'll try to salvage my original module from this car. I'll include a couple pictures here to show you the current condition. So maybe it's not as bad as my Cayman module and I'll be able to restore it. But to have a peace of mind, it needs to be replaced because the corrosion may spread further. So right now I cannot start the car because of this module, and what I'm about to do, I would like to remove the center console and to lift the carpets, if possible, to get it out from the car, or at least to have as much space as possible to dry them, to let the fresh air circulate, because right now it smells as the flat vehicle. So that's the progress. There are a bunch of videos on YouTube showing how to take this central console out. Shouldn't be shouldn't be hard, I think, but we'll check it.